everyone, welcome to my channel. My name is Kendra and today I'm going to be doing my August book haul. Editing Kendra here. I meant to say wrap up. I only read 7 books, but in all fairness I did start this channel, so that took up a lot of my time the last couple weeks of August, so fingers crossed next month I'll be able to, or I guess this month, I'll be able to read more. But I had an okay month. So in August I played Bookopoly with my book club on Facebook, so I really had no clue what book I was actually reading, so it was kind of a surprise and it kind of backfired, I would say, because I had I had 1 star, 2 stars, 2 3 stars, and 2 4 stars. And then my stats for the month, I read 2,281 pages. I read 5 physical books and 2 digital books. I read 4 library books, 2 of my own books, and then 1 Kindle Unlimited. I read 7 female authors and no male authors. I read 6 adult books and 1 YA. Then I read 3 thrillers, 2 contemporary, and 2 romance. And I'm going to go in order from my least favorite to my favorite of the month. The first one is A Lesson in Thorns by Sierra Simone. I gave this one 1 star. You follow 6 characters at the beginning of the book, and they perform a fake wedding, and there are 2 grooms and 1 bride. And many years later, they all return back to Thorn Chapel for whatever reason. They get to know each other, and then they end up performing another ritual at the same chapel that from the beginning of the book. For me, this book was a complete mess. I heard about this book from other people on booktube and they absolutely loved it. I literally hated this book. It was awful. I felt like the plot was all over the place, and I honestly thought it was pretty confusing about what was going on. And then there was a lot of BDSM in the book, and I really don't think, honestly, it was really that necessary to have that element in the book. So for me, I did not like it. I will not continue in the series at all, and I don't even know if I will read anything else by this author. The next one is Our House by Louise Candlish. I gave this one 2 stars. This one is about a woman. She comes home from a business trip, and there are moving trucks in front of her house, and people are moving into her house. So she has no idea what's going on, why these people are moving into her home. She has no idea where her husband is, no idea where her children are, and she's trying to figure out what is going on. So basically, you're following her, and before this actually happened. This book is told through 2 POVs. The first one is Fee, the woman, and it's told through a podcast about women and them being victims in crimes, and then it's also told through a Word document through her husband, Brim. And also, her and her husband, they co-parent, but they did not live in the same house together, although they would switch back and forth between the houses, so the children were always at the house at all times, so they didn't have to move back and forth from place to place. So for me, this book was not a thriller at all. It was so slow. I don't even think anything actually happened until 60-70% of the book, and I felt like the podcast and the Word document kind of disconnecting from the characters. I just couldn't get to know them or relate to them or or anything. I honestly hated the Word document. I think that was the worst part. The podcast part really wasn't that bad. I could have dealt with that, but the Word document, no, I hated. So, I mean, overall, I really wanted to like this book, but it was just way too slow of a thriller for me. I would almost categorize this as a mystery instead of a thriller, and maybe I would have liked it better. I wouldn't have thought there would have been as many twists and turns throughout the book, so this was a letdown. The next one is The Chalk Man by C.J. Tudor. This book is taking place in 1986. Eddie and his friends, during summer break, they like to ride bikes and explore in the woods and just hang out with each other. And they also like to draw different chalk figures to each other, but in different colors, so they know who the message is from. And then one day they were in the woods and they saw a bunch of different white chalk figures, so they were following the different chalk figures, and they ended up finding a dead girl, which is one of their schoolmates. In 2016, Eddie and his friends, they don't all live in the same town anymore, but they all received a letter on the 30th anniversary of the dead girl that they found, and there was a chalk figure inside of the letter. So basically you're trying to figure out who this chalk person is, who was drawing these chalk figures, and you're thinking maybe the person that was drawing these figures was a person that actually murdered the girl in the 80s. So that's the premise of the book. I didn't like this book at all. I felt like this book was so slow. I didn't think there was any twist or turns at all. It was just a straight of a line story. Like, there was nothing thrilling about this at all. I didn't even find it creepy, nothing. And when I go into thrillers, I want a shocking twist. I want to be surprised. I want to be shocked. I want my jaw to drop, and this, nothing at all. And then in the book, it does go in between the two timelines, the 1986 and the 2016, and when they were going back and forth like that, I just felt like you were so disconnected from the character. So for me, this was another letdown. This book, I've heard great things about too, so it kind of stinks that I didn't like it, but oh well. The next one is Birthday by Meredith Russo. I gave this one 3 stars. This is a YA contemporary. This one, you're following Eric and Morgan. They were born on the same day in the same hospital, and it was during a snowstorm, so their families got to know each other since they were snowed in. And ever since then, they've always been friends. Then as Morgan gets older, he starts to feel like he's trapped in his own body. He really thinks that he is actually a girl, and he's having a really difficult time trying to understand what's going on, and he wants to let his best friend Eric know, and he's scared to death to tell him. He's afraid that he'll, never talk to him again, or he'll disown him, or whatever the case may be. So this is told actually through 6 different birthdays, so each chapter was another one of their birthdays. So I liked and didn't like that. I mean, I felt like I wish it was just one whole year and you got to really get to know the characters. And for me, this was another one that I wasn't connected to the characters again. But I mean, it was a really good book about finding yourself. And I read Meredith Russo's first book, If I Was Your Girl, and I really, really liked that one. I like that one way better than this one. And I would be curious to see what else this author writes. The next one I have is All We Ever Wanted by Emily Giffin. I gave this one 3 stars as well. This one is about Layla and Finch. They go to a high school party. Layla gets super intoxicated and passes out, and Finch is in a photo with her, and it gets spread all through social media. There's also a racist comment that is also captured on the photo, and Finch is accused of taking the photo. And then there's Nina, which is Finch's mom, and she ends up finding out about this photo through some text messages that is on his phone that she ends up finding, and she is absolutely ashamed of him. However, his father thinks he's God's gift to the world, like he can do no wrong. So you have a little bit of a banter between his mom and dad. And then there's also Layla's dad, which he is just trying, after he finds out about this photo, he's just trying to find justice for what happened. This one is told in 3 different perspectives. You have Nina, which is Finch's mom, and Layla and Tom. This book, it was very slow moving. However, I think the reason why I wasn't giving this a high rating is because it's really one-sided. It doesn't explore all sides of the whole situation, and I feel like if it would have done that, I think this would have been an excellent book. But I do like Emily Giffin. I've read some of her older stuff, and I really like her just plain contemporary. This one, I mean, it did deal with a hard topic that is very relevant to today's world, so I'm glad she wrote about something like that. However, it was too one-sided for me. The next one I have is Someone We Know by Sherry Lapina. I read her previous book, The Unwanted Guest, and I loved it. It was so good. And this one is a adult thriller. This is about Robert, and his wife leaves for the weekend to hang out with her friend, and by Sunday evening she has not come back home. So he immediately files a missing persons report. And then intermingled into all that story, you also have Olivia, and her son is breaking into their neighbors' houses, and he actually broke into Robert's house. So you're trying to figure out, does Olivia's son have something to do with this woman missing? What happened to the woman, and was it the husband? You're just trying to figure out all these different scenarios of trying to figure out what's going on, what happened to this woman. And this was a really good thriller. I really liked this one. If you like neighbors and secrets and domestic type thrillers, you would really like this one. It really touched on all those topics, and I felt like this book literally had you guessing until the end. And even now, I'm like, the ending was kind of open-ended, so I like that. And it's like, it was just really good. I really enjoyed this. I would definitely recommend this thriller for sure. I read On the Rocks, which was my last book that I'm going to talk about. This one is by Candy Steiner. I gave this one 4 stars. I would definitely say it's more like a 4.5 stars. I really like this one. So this is about Ruby Grace, and she comes home from school to her hometown, and she is getting married in 6 weeks to this man. He wants to be he's going to be a future politician. So she's basically going to be a politician's wife. And she ends up dropping out of school, just be a politician's wife. Well, while she's home, she's also planning her wedding. She knows the best wedding present would be a barrel of whiskey for her fiance. When she goes to the distillery to pick out the barrel, she meets Noah. And Noah is this rugged guy, while she's like this Southern belle. And they keep running into each other, and they end up becoming closer. And then she starts questioning her whole future. Should she be with her fiance? Should she be with Noah? So that's basically the premise of the story. I love this one. It was set in a small town, and I'm from a small town, and I really liked that aspect of the story. This was also a forbidden romance. It's an age gap. She's 19 and he's 28. And I also like forbidden age gap type romances. And then since she's engaged, it's really a slow burn relationship with her and Noah. So I really like that as well. It's not, they get to know each other, and just thought their relationship was really, really cute. So this one dealt with family aspect of Noah, so you got to know all of Noah's brothers, and Candy Steiner actually just announced that this is going to be into a series. The next book is coming out really, really soon, which will follow one of Noah's brothers. So I'm really excited to get into that book, and I highly recommend this romance. It was so, so, so good. Well, that is the 7 books that I read in August. I hope you enjoyed my video. Did you read or rate any of these books the same or any differently than me? Let me know in the comments, and I will see you in my next video. Bye!